This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather Ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this date. And on this day, June 13th, 2018, I know that a lot of Canadian basketball fans will know about June 13th being Raptors Day. I already did a Sports Catastrophe about the 2019 Raptors winning the championship on this day, June 13th. But 1 year prior, in 2018, one of the most shocking World Cup bids had been completed, as FIFA decided to bring a bid of three different countries hosting one World Cup and making history. So there's a lot of background to this during all that. The 2026 World Cup was going to be huge. After the mess FIFA did in awarding Russia and Qatar the 2018 and 2022 World Cups at the same time, obviously, and controversially, with Russia not really being a soccer power nowadays, and Qatar, well, Qatar not really that big in the day and all that. People thought they were just chasing money and not caring about soccer playing nations. So anyway, Canada, Mexico, and the United States were actually having a bid for the 2026 World Cup. North America had not seen a World Cup since the American one in 1994, so they thought that, it would be huge and all that. They decided to have a joint bid by April 2017. They would have 17 candidate cities for America, 3 in Canada, 3 in Mexico. So practically the United States would get the bulk of everything. All that. The majority of the matches are held in the States. US will host 60 matches, including every match from the quarters onward. Canada and Mexico will get 10 matches each. So yeah, by 2012, Canada wanted a bid saying that, we're putting a formal proposal. Canada hosted the men's under 16 championship in 1987 and the under 20 for both men and women. The men's was 2007, if memory serves me right. Anyway, they hosted the under 20 women's World Cup in 2014, which was the precursor to the actual women's World Cup in 2015, hosted across Canada, and a lot of people liked that tournament. Mexico by 2012 wanted to also bid for the 2026 World Cup and said that it's potentially to co-host with the United States and all that. So by 2016, at the FIFA Congress in Mexico City, US Soccer Federation, the board members said, we will bid for the 2026 World Cup either jointly with Mexico or Canada, or we will go in it alone. The Americans had hosted the 94 World Cup, which was a decent success and still holds the record for highest attendance per game, and missed the 2022 World Cup bid to Qatar, of course, controversially. So the CONCACAF president said there was a possibility that the US, Canada, and Mexico would do a joint bid. And they all decided to submit one and all of that. So anyway, so it looked pretty impressive. They decided through the continental rotation of hosting duties that only African countries, North American countries, South American countries, and Oceanic countries were allowed to take part. So no Europe or Asian World Cup in 2026. So Canada hosted the men's under 16 World Championships in 1987, the under 19 women's title in 2002, the under 20 World Cup in 2007, the under 20 Women's World Cup in 2014, and the Women's World Cup in 2015. Mexico hosted 5 tournaments: the 1970 World Cup, the 1986 World Cup, well, the 70 World Cup, Pele and the team goal for Brazil being Italy. 1986 World Cup, Canada qualifying for it, and also the fact of the hand of God among other things. The 1999 Confederations Cup, pitting continental champions from all six continents, the 1983 World Youth Championship, and the 2011 Under-17 World Cup. U.S. had only hosted 3 major tournaments, which was unusual for them to lag behind Canada and Mexico. They hosted the 94 World Cup, which saw Brazil beat Italy on penalties. The 99 Women's World Cup, Brandy Chastain in her celebration after beating China with the bra and all that. And the 2003 Women's World Cup, which was only given to the States because of China's SARS problems. Canada hosted the Olympic soccer tournament in Montreal 1976 when they hosted the Olympics. Mexico City 1968, and the Americans in 84 and 96. So there would be a bid committee. Robert Kraft, who was an NFL owner for the Pats and actually MLS owner of the New England Revolution, was the honorary chairman of the board. The board of directors would include a couple of key names from the U.S. teams of yore: Carlos Bocanegra and Julie Foudy. So they had to think about venues and all of that. Canada proposed that Vancouver and Toronto would host games. Vancouver had a 54,000 seat capacity. Toronto had a 30,000 seat capacity, but then they can actually expand it for 45,000. Mexico brought in Mexico City, Monterrey, and Guadalajara to host events. The U.S. had many cities that wanted to host. They would host in New Jersey for East Rutherford's MetLife Stadium, Dallas, AT&T Stadium, Kansas City, Houston, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Philly, Seattle, San Fran, Boston, Miami, all that. So yeah, there were a lot of things going on. Anyway, so that would be huge and all that. A lot of people would support it. They made a massive survey in October 2017 and said that the Canada, US, Mexico its support would be 77% would be in favor of hosting it and all that. It would be good for their country and all that. Government officials would support the bid for the World Cup and all of that. So anyway, that was that. So they looked pretty impressive with themselves. So anyway, there would be huge and all that. There was one other bid. It wasn't acclimated that Canada, US, Mexico were going to get the World Cup. Morocco, who were sick of being defeated every time. Morocco had like 5 or 6 chances to host the World Cup and always got defeated, including 2010 when South Africa got the first African tournament in the World Cup. So Morocco wanted to do it and all of that. So anyway, Ghana could not vote because of a corruption scandal. Cuba, Slovenia, and Spain abstained from voting, which was shocking, especially with Spain. Iran actually voted for the option none of the bids, that they didn't want either side to win. But the 199 other nations, it was 134 to 65, majority rules on that one. And it was announced Canada, Mexico, and the United States would be hosting the World Cup. And it would be humongous for everyone. 16 cities would be hosting the World Cup in 2026. Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Vancouver, Dallas, Guadalajara, Houston, Kansas City, Mexico City, Monterrey, Atlanta, Boston, Miami, New York. Well, New York, New Jersey, Philly, and Toronto. So that's that. The other key moment about the 2026 World Cup you need to know is that it's not going to be a 32 team tournament like it has been since 1998. Oh no, FIFA decided to expand it to 48 nations. They could have made 40, but they decided to go with 48, which means that it's a 50% expansion for teams to qualify and all that. I don't know exactly how many countries and per region will qualify for the World Cup. But all I know is Canada, US, Mexico were given automatic spots into the World Cup. So, yeah, it would be good. I mean, Mexico and the United States for sure, because, they're North American darlings and all that. Canada, they probably thought was so because of their spotty 0-6 mark in World Cup play. But after all, Canada did qualify for the World Cup, and I think they definitely would have had a golden chance to qualify for any World Cup in 2026. So yeah, the 48-team event will have 12 groups of 4, and they say the top 2 in each will qualify. So that's the messy part taken away. But yeah, Canada got the World Cup, and it'll be good to see it in 2 years' time, I hope. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond to do.